I will give the Station 19 part of the crossover its own separate video, but I want to give Grey's its own video as well because I really do cover Grey's Anatomy. And this episode really hinged on Kelly McCreary's performance, and she knocked it out of the park. I have said many times that Kelly McCreary is a really good actress. She can go from being humorous to dramatic on a dime, and the writers of this episode use that technique and skill that Kelly has really well here because she was funny in the beginning, and then she was sad and mopey at the end, and I loved it, and I just wanted to see the Maggie scenes. Like, had this just been a Maggie Meredith episode, I would have been totally fine with that. Now, this episode was a little slower, which kind of bothered me, but because they have the second hour, they're allowed to be slower. Though, you know, television shouldn't always depend on the second hour of a crossover to make the first hour, you know, slow. I know they have to set up, but the setup wasn't even that big of a deal. But I really did like what I saw with Maggie because this really hit home for her due to the fact that the mother was dying and, you know, she lost her mother. And then she also doesn't know where Jackson is at the moment. Jackson sent her a picture of the tree. And, you know, her life is kind of in shambles. Not bad, but, you know, it's in chaos. It's a cluttered mess, and she doesn't know how to deal with it because for her entire adult life, or her entire childhood and most of her adult life, she's had a lot of stability. And now she's getting the drama, and I don't think she knows how to properly handle it. So I really like seeing this character development and character growth for Maggie. Now, there was two medical disasters in this episode. One was there was a woman who had a heart condition and Maggie had to operate, and then there was a other young man who was around 18 years old who had a lung condition, and that was Alex's storyline, and we'll talk about Alex towards the end of the review. But I really just thought Kelly McCreary killed her scenes. She was so good. Now, I am not a very big fan of Station 19, though I do like the character of Ben Warren, and I hope in the Station 19 part of the hour, and as I said, it'll get its own video, he gets to do a little bit more. But I did enjoy Bailey being worried about Ben. But overall, like the Station 19 characters, they were just kind of there for the setup of what's going to be happening in Station 19. And honestly, like, had this just been like a fire where, you know, like firemen brought these people to the hospital, I think the Station 19 characters don't even need to be here. And that doesn't necessarily mean the show was bad. It's just my lack of interest in it. But I'm still curious to see what's going to be happening in the next part of the crossover because, you know, Grey's is in it. But the next thing I want to talk about is Meredith going on a date. Now, she dated Josh Radnor, whose character in the show is named John. And from the end of this episode, and I'm assuming it's going to stay this way because it really seemed to be tied up in a nice bow, John, aka Ted Mosby, is not going to be a thing because he said the one thing that ticked her off. And I gotta say, I'm totally okay with that. Now, they announced that he was going to be a love interest, but apparently it was just really for this episode, which I found kind of annoying because I would have preferred to at least have seen Meredith date someone who wasn't a doctor, and he was a doctor, but, you know, not him. I just didn't think Josh Radnor was right for the material, but I'm really happy that he's not the new McDreamy. But that was Meredith's main focus of this episode, is her date, her starting to get back in the game. And I think Ellen Pompeo was fun. Like, she's funny. Like, they utilized Ellen Pompeo quite a bit. Like, she was all in the humor here, which is great. I mean, Meredith is normally dark and twisty, so to use Ellen Pompeo's comedic skills is great. It lets her experiment more as a character. You know, she gets to be dramatic, which she's been doing for years. She gets to now be humorous. She's also a producer and director, so she's kind of getting the whole bang and shaboodle of being an actor, and I do appreciate that. During her date, she mentioned Switzerland, which was a fun nod to Christina, who I greatly miss. Sandra Oh, such a great character. I also miss Kate Walsh quite a bit as well. I would love if both... I know that Sandra Oh said she would come back at the end of Grey's Anatomy, but I think Kate Walsh should come back to Grey's Anatomy, but she's also busy, so it might be very hard to get her. So we have two more things to briefly discuss, and that was, essentially, it really felt that the Amelia Owen-Teddy storyline is forgotten about for a majority of this episode. However, Amelia and Owen's interactions were really fun, and then Amelia dealing with Owen's mother, I like that as well. but that's just amping up the humor, and there's no real drama. Like, Owen and Amelia don't even know that Teddy is pregnant, and the only person now that knows is Meredith, because Meredith violated HIPAA laws. Or, excuse me, Maggie violated HIPAA laws by telling Meredith, which I have to say, I really felt was out of character. I know that they wanted to use that, they want to drag the storyline out of, no one knows, but I don't appreciate the fact that it was Maggie who got to violate it, because, she had all this other storylines going on, and to be the one that, breaks the seal was a little irritating in my opinion. But I really want to see Kim Raver, and we're on episode 4. She was in episode 1, so she's been gone for 3 episodes. Where is she? I don't even think she'll be in the crossover for Station 19, which is also annoying as well. But again, if she is, we'll talk about that there. And then last thing to briefly talk about is Alex and Weber. Alex is still struggling to be the new chief. In the beginning of the episode, it really felt that his storyline was going to be very mooted. And then what was nice about it was Weber coming in and telling him the stories about his mother. So I did like that. And then Alex saving this kid's life by doing, I don't want to call it a Hail Mary, by essentially doing something illegal. But the kid was grateful for it. He made it an emergency surgery by stabbing him in the back. Because Alex is a good guy. Alex has gone from being not a villain, but antagonistic to being a villain. So I do like that part of the character. And I like how Alex essentially got a happy ending for this kid and for himself. So I enjoyed that, but it also was very, very slow. And then at the end of the episode, apparently Joe and Link have a connection, and I can sense some drama between Link and Alex coming up. Oof. As long as Meredith isn't dating Link, I'm okay with if Alex gets to beat Link up. So this episode had a lot of humor. It was kind of slow, but Kelly McCreary totally made up for it. But I really want to see more Amelia, Owen, and Teddy, and I want to see Meredith find this love interest, but it needs to be the right guy. So overall, the crossover itself, kind of meh, but that's really just because I found the Station 19 characters fun. Don't get me wrong, they're funny. Dean interacting with Maggie was great. Ben Warren, who's really a Grey's character, he's great, but he was barely here. So, I'll talk about the Station 19 when I watch it and then review it, but I really didn't think a crossover was needed. But again, the episode itself was funny, and if I had to rate it, I would say it's a 4 out of 5 stars. It's still fun, and I think Kelly McCreary is the reason why it is such a high review. So anyway, or rating, excuse me, wow. So anyway, share your thoughts about the episode in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Do you prefer Grey's being more humorous or more dramatic? That's the big question I have for you guys. So anyway, share your thoughts, and we'll talk about the new episode of Station 19 coming up very soon. Also, I tweeted Kelly McCreary. She liked it. I was very happy. Ellen Pompeo had liked my tweet also about the season 15 premiere, which also made me very happy. So anyway, share your thoughts, and we'll talk real soon. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.